Recording. Hey everybody, how are you guys today? Rose, I can see you. There's a couple other people
Hello.
watching live, so good to see you all. Today we're going to talk about ShowingTime and some of the reports that are on ShowingTime. And so ShowingTime, you can get to it directly from going to showingtime.com. My login on ShowingTime, let me share my screen. I always forget to do that. I start typing and then I don't share my screen. So share my screen there. So ShowingTime, you can get to directly from showingtime.com. Get rid of that. Showingtime.com, but you can also get to it from the MLS. And going through the MLS, you don't need a username and password because they're connected. It already knows your username and password. So I just logged in quickly to the MLS and there's ShowingTime right there. If I click that, it'll just open up ShowingTime and it'll take me right into ShowingTime already logged in. I can also directly from, once I'm into Matrix, get into ShowingTime through here. And this is where I'm gonna manage, I can manage my showings, I can do a lot of different stuff. Looks like there's a rental scam going around, there's always rental scams. And then here on my external links, there's a ShowingTime, and it says ShowingTime setup, but it takes me directly to the homepage there. And this is where I can kind of see showings on my listings, showings I've requested, kind of some of these listing notices things. And on the left side here, there are reports. And you should have 5 reports here. And I'll go through each one and kind of tell you what each one does. I think the last one is the best one. The first one is the activity on comparables report. This one's a little bit interesting, and you can search by any time period that you want. So it defaults to 1 week. And you can search by cities, you can search by zip codes, you can do residential, you can search by subdivision. So I could put in Green Meadows. Green Meadows is an interesting one. Let me see if I can find Green Meadows. So subdivisions may be a little weird because it's not letting me pull up a whole bunch. But I usually search by area or by zip code. So Rose, what's a good zip code?
Let's do 66205.
66205, and we're looking at residential properties. So I submit this, and it's going to show me all the listings that happened in that zip code. What happens though is, and actually this one may not work that way. Or I didn't select it. Let me redo it. Maybe I didn't get it. So there we go. So from your office, and that's the thing about this this first report here, this activity on comparables report, is it's only for your office. It's only showing listings on your office. And so you can't really get a good idea of the entire market because it's not showing any other listings outside that zip code. And so I don't know why this report actually exists, besides to let you, maybe if you have a listing here and it didn't go under contract with this person, you could call and do that. Not a big fan of this report, but it's here, so I wanted to show it. You can email it, print it, and download it, but it really is limited to your office and what you put in. And so remembering that zip code 66205, when I come back to my reports here, the next one down is the agent activity. So this is going to show me all my activity. Price changes, new listings, appointments, listings nearing expiring. So really showing me my business based on what's in the MLS in a really quick place.
So is this report, the agent activity report, is that like it's not a specific area?
No, this is all your listings.
Okay.
So this is going to be everything everything that happens with your listing. So if I go back, I had a new listing not too long ago. Let's see what it says here. So I went back to May 1st. So I had one new listing, I had one status change. And so it kind of quickly shows me what's happening on my listings. Here's my status change from active to pending. Here's my new listing, when it went live. And then here's all the different activities on that particular listing. And it's not going to break it out by listing. So it's kind of an overall activity for you, but it does tell me that I have 8 waiting, eight showings waiting that I didn't get any feedback. I have 9 that I can share with my seller. And so it kind of gives you an overview of all your listings. If there was inspections or appraisals that opened up the lockbox, it would show there. So really nice way to be able to see all of your business in one place.
So did you say it's each property address that you have for a listing, is it all grouped together or you can toggle between them?
I think they're kind of all grouped together. It'll show you each new listing, each status change. I
Okay.
obviously haven't had listings in a while, and it
Yeah. I just didn't know if you had like 3 listings that you can see the appointments on all 3 of
so
them separately or if it's grouped together.
so it looks like it's all grouped together because I have
Okay.
I went back far enough and I have 159 appointments.
Okay.
It's not pulling in the listings because they were before showing time took over,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually showing all the showings because those all transferred over. Um, so I'm seeing all the different showings. They're kind of grouped together based on when they became active, but it is everything all in one place. So more of the top parts probably what you're going to use. The appointments might get overwhelming, but being able to see the status changes and the new listings and some of the stats there all in one place would be a good spot there.
Kyle,
Yeah,
it's Tracy Jackson. I just looked at mine and it shows just showings for all your listings in chronological order.
that's what I
Kind of
was
from
thinking.
most recent to, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and usually I don't have more than one listing at a time, so mine were all grouped together.
Sure.
So, but there is the agent listing report. This I think is more what you're going to get a little bit more value of. If it's because it's going to show you in a list of what's active, what's pending, what's expiring soon, and number of showings. If there's an expiration date, just kind of everything in one place of the number of showings. So I've been on the market 26 days there. That doesn't take into account the that I turned it pending 2 days after I went active here. This went under contract, went listed on 4/1, went under contract on 4/3. It just says, hey, this has been live for 26 days. So this is actually a good one to be able to quickly see all your different listings, where they're at, number of showings, and things like that.
So what would be a good report if you wanted to pull stats for yourself to maybe put in a listing presentation, like your average days on market, your list price versus sold? Is there a way to do it through any of these reports we just talked about?
Not on ShowingTime. Let me show you. I can show you how to do that in MLS really quick. But let me finish in here first. There are listing
Oh
reports.
yeah, you're good. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off. Just didn't know if there was a ShowingTime report for that.
There is, or there isn't really a ShowingTime report
Okay,
for that.
no worries. Okay.
So where was I? List reports. So that was the agent listing reports. This is the agent activity report. And so this is specific. If I had more than one listing, it would show here. When I click here, this actually goes in and shows me information for this particular listing. It shows me who's interested based on the feedback. It shows me all the listing responses. And then I can download this as a PDF, but there's also a homeowner version. So if you look here on the left side, I can click the homeowner version and I can then download this as a PDF. I can email it. It shows all the different activity that happened. So when you say they canceled, you don't have to, the client doesn't have to take your word for it. They can come in and say, oh, look, yeah, they really canceled here. So I downloaded the homeowner one and I click this. This is the PDF that it creates for the homeowner. So I need to put my picture in. That doesn't look like me at all. But I can say, hey, for this week, and the longer your listing is, the more weeks there are that would show. Here's all the stuff that happened, and email that to them.
But that's a good report too. It looks like you did a lot of work when you didn't.
Exactly. So I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
I could download, when I click to the agent version, I could download that one as well and send that to them. That has some of the feedback in it so they can get all the feedback in one place. It does have the other agents there, so I might download this one and delete the pages that I don't want to send to them, or put a white box over them somehow, because they don't necessarily need to see all the names. but I do like the top part up here where they can see some of the feedback at a glance. And so if you're getting all the feedback that it's too high, you might do this one. And when I download it, I might have already, there it is. I can open it up and see that there's 5 pages, but I might only want to send pages 1 and 2, and even figure out using either, like I have a Mac, so I can open this up in preview and delete pages, or Adobe Acrobat might be able to delete pages and even draw a white box right over this so that I just send pages 1 and half of 2. So it'd be nice if we could pick what we wanted on the reports. Maybe that's a nice ShowingTime upgrade coming soon. But yeah, I like the fact that we can show them what the feedback is without having to go through all the individual items there. So.
And if something's overpriced, like the feedback's going to show it, so it's not coming from you.
Right.
It's actually coming from what people have said about the property.
Yep.
So.
And that's why
Yeah.
One of the questions I had is your opinion of the price. And 3 people said it was too high. 5 people said it was just right. And it went under contract and appraised for $11,000 over the list price. So 3 people don't know the market. I'm like laughing. I'm like, you don't really know what's happening in the market, do you? I don't think they were Keller Williams agents, but yeah, it was priced well.
Yeah.
It appraised, it went over list price. So we were actually priced a little low. But no one's going to tell me it's priced low when they want to make an offer, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's just kind of like, okay, thanks for the feedback. And I kind of want to reach out to them and go, hey, just so you know, this was, in that really nice way. Tell people that it was actually like priced right, but I wouldn't actually do that. So I think this one's great for being able to see the different things. You can even add activity directly in here. If you do a showing that wasn't through ShowingTime, or you wanted to put your inspection in there, you could actually add some extra stuff in right on this page. What's display options? I hadn't played. Oh, look, we can actually.
Well, you can filter it.
Yeah. See, I learn stuff every day. I hadn't played with that. So we do that. And now our download report will actually be waiting for setup. We open our report and we have exactly what we want, right? Yeah. Awesome. So you can do it. If you didn't catch that, that was on the display options. It pops up and you can hide and show what you want on that. And you can even move them around. So if I wanted my appointment graph below the feedback graph, I can do that so that the feedback's the first thing they see. They can see the total appointments. Great thing to send weekly to your sellers if you're not under contract. Hey, this is what's happening. So this is a great for their property, but they're worried that their property isn't under contract. And why isn't it under contract? And maybe it's because there's no activity in that market, in that price point. So the last report in here is the one I think has some of the most value. Actually, I didn't get to the second one yet. So this is showings I've requested. You can actually come in and put in and print in one place. So after you've got all your showings for today, you can come in and print a listing of all the different showings that you have and include. I thought I saw a spot to include. And you can filter by buyer. So you can even put a particular buyer in. You can map the appointment route. And then even there, it moved to the side, print instructions. So when I print instructions, it's going to pop up and print all those showing instructions that I have. So we'll just open it, open in preview, see what it looks like. Drag that up to the right spot. So these are my showings I've requested, including all the different showing instructions. So I have it all in one place. I'm not having to look on my phone for the email that I got. So for today, these are the 3 I've actually requested in the last month. These are the showing instructions. And if there's alarm, and I just have one sheet for that particular client. So I like that one from a showing agent standpoint. That's a great one to be able to just print out one thing. And if I actually put buyers in, I'd be able to filter it out by particular buyers. So I'm just kind of lazy and don't put my buyers in when I'm scheduling my appointments, because I obviously go on about 5 every 2 months. But that one's a cool one because I don't have to search for the email. It looks like I got my stuff together because I'm not going, wait a minute, is there an alarm? Why is the alarm going off? Anybody ever set the alarm off? Rose, I've done it. Ever had the police show up? Nope.
Well, I mean, I ended up freaking out and finding the code and we were good, but yeah, it's not a good feeling.
I got it before the police got there, but I have heard stories with the alarm, and it's a silent alarm, so they don't even know it, and the police all of a sudden show up. So good way to do that. The last one under the reports is one I think is the most valuable for just you in general and for a particular listing. So we have that 66205. That was the zip code, right? That you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised I remembered it. We have that zip code, and your listing is, let's say it's 300,000. So I'm going to put in 275, and I'm going to put in maybe 325 or 350. Even go down just a bit so they can see just a little bit lower. And I can change my increments. So for the last month, so I can click last 30 days, and it recalculates quickly. I can change my increments to $5,000. I can add other information in here. I can put in number of bedrooms, and this is market-wide data. So that's going to be pull in some information based on, not sure why, but unselecting it probably doesn't change anything. Yep. Unselecting market-wide data makes it just a small price range there. And so we've got 66205. We now have a way to tell that client that, hey, look, you're priced at 300,000, and in this zip code, in the last month, there's been no showings between 300 and 315,000. And on average, there's 10 showings per listing, which means one listing here got all the showings, and one listing here got all the showings. And so if we're not getting showings, it's not because the people aren't looking at it. It's because you're overpriced. You should be closer, maybe down and start to drop the price a little bit, because the 299 got 5 showings. And you notice the total showings is identical to the showings per listing. So that tells me that this zip code isn't getting a whole lot of showings. Let's change this to Kansas City. And you'll see a little bit different there. So as I scroll down, you'll see that there are certain price ranges. But hey, the city of Kansas City, there's 91 here, 5.7%. If we drop the price maybe just $5,000, we're going to get a lot more showings, because weekly there's a lot more showings between 285 and 300 than there are in the price ranges above 300. And so very easy to be able to say, hey, we want to be closer to this 290 range where there's a ton of showings at 289,999 than at 300, because there's no showings. There's almost a third of or 2.5 times more showings at 290 compared to at 300. So really cool to be able to see that particular number for zip codes or for cities. The more you narrow it down, sometimes the smaller the property gets, and really there's not many showing differences for put Kansas City back in. There's not really showing scheduled for lots and some of the other stuff in here, multi-dwelling. So there's really not a big difference between the numbers if you forget to put that particular spot in there. But really cool to be able to kind of narrow it down to $5,000 ranges and really see that, even in the last week. So if I just wanted to show my client everything in the last week, and I would probably go back and go Monday to Sunday, because today's not over, so it's really not a good comparison. So I changed it from 420 to 426, so that's 7 days. I can say, hey, look, in the last 7 days, this is what's happening. You're at 300, and there was 25 showings, but there was only 3 per listing, and you had 4. So you actually got more listings than the average in this price range. So either one of two things is happening: is the quality, the price of your house isn't isn't getting somebody to make an offer. The price and the condition don't match, and they just don't want to make an offer. We're getting our fair share of showings. We're just not getting an offer. Or you're getting no showings, and that tells you that based on the pictures and what's online, we need to change something, because no showings, even though there was 25 this week in that price range, means we're overpriced for what people perceive the value to be. Does that make sense to everybody?
Can you repeat that maybe? So, okay, so how are you getting the 4? Okay, so I guess I'm confused with the number of total showings and then showings per listing.
Okay, so the total number of showings is the showings in Kansas City, because I have city in there.
Okay.
In the, like this one, 300 to 325,000. There was 25 showings in all of Kansas City in the $300 to $305,000 price range. That was 5% of the showings. Monthly, we average 107. Weekly, we average 25 because I went to a week. And there are approximately 8 properties that got a showing last week in this price range, because 3.13 divided, or 25 divided by 3.13 is exactly 8. So 8 properties split these 25 showings.
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense? So on average, one property could have gotten 7 or 15 of them, and the other 8 split the 7, or one property got 15, one got 10, and the other 6 got nothing. We don't know exactly which property got it, but we do know there was 8 active listings, or eight listings that got 8 active listings that got showings. Sorry, let me repeat that. There were 8 active listings, and on average, each listing got 3.13. We don't know if one got 25 and 7 got 0. We just know that there was that many active listings. So on average, there was that many showings per listing. Does that make sense? So I do a little bit of math here. So this is this is the total. So I can say, okay, there's 25 here, divided by 3.13 tells me how many active listings in that price range were active last week. So same thing on 37. So pull up my calculator really quick, get it up to you guys. Also, I'll show you if I can get my calculator to pull up. My calculator's been broke. Oh, there it is. So we take, let's do 69 listings and 4.0, or 69 showings and 4.06. So 69 divided by 4.06. It rounds just a bit, but there was 17 listings last week in that particular price range. So it kind of, you can start to figure out your competition as well, and say, hey, look, there's only 8 here, so we don't have as much competition at the 500,000. But look at the number of showings per listing, and 275 and under really has a ton of showings. We probably don't want to go that low, but if we drop down closer to 285, 290, we might get a few more showings, just because of the number of showings per listing and just the total number of showings. So the monthly average is kind of a nice thing too, because you start to see, okay, there was 295 in a month. That means there's a lot of buyers looking in these particular price ranges. So the higher the monthly average, the more probably buyers there are, because most buyers see about the same amount of properties. They don't, you're not going to see one person look at 100 properties in a week and throw off those numbers. So make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, using the showings per listing allows you to compare your showing and the report we just showed, saying, hey, look, in the last week, you got 7 showings. The average was 3.13. You got more than twice as many as the average listing. And so because we haven't gone under contract, that tells us, not me, it doesn't tell me because I want them to feel part of the decision, right? It tells us that we're probably a little bit overpriced because we had a lot of showings but didn't get an offer. Or if this number is 0 or 1, hey, there's just not a market in your price range in your zip code right now. Let's hold steady a little bit and see if we can, do a little bit more marketing. Maybe we start to run a Facebook ad for it instead of just the normal marketing we do. I kind of layer marketing on. I don't do everything weekend one. So when I list something, it's usually on a Thursday or Friday. I don't do an open house the first weekend because that's one of my quivers. If we're going to go under contract the first weekend, me doing an open house isn't going to change that all that much because we priced it right. It's going to go quickly just based on being new on the MLS, right?
Mm-hmm.
So slowly doing some progressive marketing helps do that. Maybe the Facebook ads, not the first Friday, but maybe the Facebook ads the next weekend, starts and runs on Tuesday. So if you go under contract the first weekend, you still have, or you still have some stuff to continue to market and get more people into the property. Because the MLS, being on the MLS and being on Zillow and Trulia by itself is going to have a marketing value. So you wanted to see how to run some stats for yourself, right, Rose?
Sure, yeah.
All right, so back on the MLS, I always use the search and the residential detail. That's just how I kind of learned it, and that's how I did it, because the top part here is almost exactly the same as the, I don't even know what it's called, I never use it, as the quick. But what it allows me to do, if I need to, I have all these other search options. So that's why I always use that one. I'm going to go ahead and clear out my preset stuff, and I'll show you my stats. So I want to look at sold because that's the most important thing. And I want to look at everything that I listed and sold in the last, I probably better do 365 days. So I can do 0 to 365. And then as I scroll down here, at the very bottom, there's a listing agent ID. And so I can type in my ID, and it tells me I have one result. So let's go back a little farther. For me, I'll just take it out. So I've had 30 listings that actually sold. So K Neiman, my listing ID, and I have sold days back. And that's really, and normally I'd have sold days back. That's really all I have. I could do 0 to 730 and see if we narrow it down some. I have 5 matches. So that's decent enough. I can then click my results. And I can click, see this stats button right here? I can click stats and I go to tabular and I start to see my my stats there. So my average days on market is 12 days. My average list price to sales price. So I would take 520 divided by 508. So my average actual sales price to list price is over 100. Do I still have my calculator here? So 520,000 divided by 508, 102.3%. So if you list with me, on average, I'm going to sell your listing for 102.3% of the list price.
Baller.
And in 12 days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my fastest is 1, my maximum is 18. You really want to work with somebody else, or would you rather work with me?
Yeah.
So I kind of take these, like I said, that was a pretty quick way of doing it. And you notice I saw a lot of low-end properties. Don't look at these numbers. I work with a lot of investors. The other thing you can do is under the stats in residential, and we provide you a lot of times with the overall one. So I know for March, on average in the MLS, it was 98.4% of list price is what things sold for. So we provide a lot of those things for you. Days on market, you can actually select days on market there and pick a particular area. So I could do the same thing. Days on market and hit generate. And really, I didn't change anything. This is going to show me the Kansas City days on market. I can see the data specifically here and actually see for 3 years back the average days on market for the entire MLS. So that was just under stats and residential. And that's one of the preset ones right here, days on market. So I select that and it gives me, I can create that, or I can even do, I can even narrow that down to Jackson County and then generate from there. So it should change a little bit from there. And then even see the data here. So our days on market plummeted in March. It'd been 38s. And you can see comparisons back that normally in March, our days on market do go down. We should see another closer to 19, 20 on April and May and June. So you start to see the later in the year you get and the earlier in the year you get, the longer that properties generally stay on market. And then you can take this and either just do a screenshot of this or export it as a CSV, and you can create your own kind of graphics based on this information. Answer your question, Rose?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Other than that, that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys. Anybody need me to review anything before we end this here? If you guys play with it and have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can text me 913-530-7596 or kyle.neiman@kw.com. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to stop the recording and I'll hang out for just a second so that you guys can, if you have other questions, just questions in general, you can do that. Oh, somebody's got a chat question. Totally missed that. Thanks, Tracy. Good to hear the feedback. So